Welcome everybody to 1 hour of miniature goodness. I hope you can all hear me. Just check that you can all hear my voice. I'm going to do this every single time I start a stream now because I'm just a nutcase. Look at everybody in chat already, all waiting for me. Awesome stuff. I'll say hello to everybody. Scorpio, of course. Ty's in chat. Muse's Touch. We got myself. Hello, Tal. What are you doing in chat? I'll have to sort you out a little star. Tal needs to get a little star next to his name. Michelle, and of course Michelle's going to be in chat because today we have the Tree of Despair, and I had one hidden in my Conan Exiles game on my server on Discord, and she found it. So one of these that I'm painting today is actually for her. Who else have I missed in chat? Anyone? Renegade Shank. Hello, Renegade Shank. I thought you was away. And Carlos. Hello, Carlos. Okay, so let's make a start because we've only got an hour. This is the hello, Dawn. Dawn's in chat. This is the Tree of Despair. This is the retail version. I've already painted this before, and you can find the video on my YouTube channel. But today, this is the retail version, which is a little bit different from the Kickstarter version. And the only thing that's different with this tree is the base is now fixed to the tree. Before, the base was separate. Now, it's a beautiful box as always. The sculpt is by Bobby Jackson. Now, Bobby Jackson is my number 2 best ever sculptors in the world. So remember that, goblins, because when I do another one of my question and answer competitions, if you remember, Bobby Jackson is my number 2. Okay, and it's painted by Daryl Roberts. Now, I'm not quite familiar with that name. Normally it's Michael Proctor, who I know does all the studio work for Reaper. So that one's a bit new for me. Anyway, beautiful little box if you like your boxes. And he dumps it over there. Now, I got 2 of these beautiful little trees to paint today. And what I thought I shall do today is I'll show you 2 different tree variations. Now, the variations are very simple. We're going for the dark tree. So what's going to happen to this one? It's going to be for like a woodland effect. It's going to be alive. And of course, we're going to do a Conan dead tree. So this tree will be your dead white effect look for your tree. Bob Ollie, Carlos. Bob Ollie is my number 1 sculptor in the whole wide world. Bob Ollie. Okay, right, so it's all dry brushing today. Excuse me. And we are going to start with desert sand. I'm going to get some paint on my palette, and we're just going to fly through these. It won't take us 5 minutes to paint these trees. So I'm just going to get some desert sand from MSP, and I'm going to load up my palette, and then we can fly through the paint. Yes, all the bobs. All the bobs. Yes, Renegade Shank, I hope you go okay with your doctors. That's probably from eating all my cookies. What, you thought this tree would be larger, did you, Dawn? It's a beautiful sculpt. It comes with 2 different variations of. You can have a lady hanging from the tree, or you can have it, as I call it, the Conan hanging from the tree as well. So you've got 2 really nice little sculpts there, and it also comes with a pack of buzzards that you can have all over the tree as well. Now, we're going to start off with the light tree. So what I've got here is some desert sand, and then we're going for some splintered bone, sorry. And then we'll have some white on top of that. So, like everything I show you, when we're working with our miniatures, we're always starting off with the darker colour and working our way up. Now, for the tree that we want, dead tree, we want lighter colours. So what I'm going for is we've got a dark brown, then we're going for the desert sand, then we go in for a cream, and then we'll go for a highlight of a sharper white. But because we're using this darker brown, that gives us our shade to begin with on our tree. Let me just find my white paint. You can see the difference in paints when you use different paints. I'm using this Army Painter as well. Army Painter is so much thicker than MSP paint. It's very good for dry brushing though. Dry brushing, you really do want quite a thick paint, but it's not a major issue. So what we're going to do is, I'm just using, this is a massive great vehicle terrain brush by Army Painter. It's not really supposed to be used as a dry brush, but I use it as a dry brush because of the size and it gets the job done. So we're just going straight on here with our paint. Let me see if we can get everything into, there we go. Okay, so we're going straight on, and it's going to be a very, very heavy dry brush to begin with, all over the tree, and we're leaving that brown. The brown will start giving us instant shadows beneath the tree. It's a real fast, simple paint, this one, but it looks fantastic once it's done. Now we're leaving more paint on the top areas of the tree, the bottom of the tree. We want shadows. We're always working from a light source from above, so I like to keep everything darker at the bottom of the tree. And dry brushing, of course, is my favourite way to paint. It's just great fun, it's fast, effective, gets the job done, and looks awesome once it's finished. So again, heavier on the top of the tree, lighter on the bottom parts of the branches. So we want all that light source to be on the top where the sun is shining down onto this tree, so it's actually staining the word and making it lighter and lighter and lighter. So a nice heavy dry brush to begin with. Oh, I got a raid! Welcome, welcome, welcome! Thank you so much. Today I'm doing some dry brushing. I'm doing some trees, super fast and easy, with some heavy dry brushing. We're doing a dead tree and we're doing an ordinary tree. These are the Trees of Despair by Reaper Miniatures. Welcome everybody. I hope you like Reaper Minis. Now, if you don't follow Orcrest Gaming, I was watching Orcrest Gaming. I was watching his Twitch stream earlier today. Absolutely fantastic guy, and so follow his channel. If I don't know if you can add a link or anything to his channel, but absolutely fantastic. He's got the same attitude as I have about painting, and that is, you know, we help each other and work as a team and support each other as painters. There's no I'm better than you attitude, and that's what everybody wants in painting. There's no point fighting about who's the best and all this. It's about the hobby, it's about the community, and it's about having fun. So yes, Orcrest Gaming, if you can follow his Twitch channel, absolutely amazing guy, and thank you so much for the raid. So as we can see, we got that we got the desert sand on here now, and we're leaving the underneath darker, like I say, because this is what I'm trying to do. Is we're working for the light source going down on our tree, and we just highlight, keep on highlighting, and what we're going to do is just let that dry a little bit now. and we'll make a start on the other tree while it dries, and that looks fantastic already. Okay, so for the other tree we need a darker brown, so I'm going for a wood stain brown by MSP. Let's just give that a little mix. Muse's touch. You've still not painted the tree. That's not good. That's not good. You could have actually painted the tree tonight, Muse's touch, at the same time while I was doing this one. Hello, Casper Kenobi. Right, so we're going for the dark brown now. You probably won't notice it so much because we're going over black, but once again we're going for a nice heavy dry brush for our initial coating over the whole of the tree. This is just to get our initial coat of dry brushing on. Super fast and easy, and again that black primer coat is giving us the shadows we want for the tree. And it's amazing the difference just by having two different variations of trees, how different they can look just by using some different colors. Again, we're keeping it dark at the bottom of the tree. We're still working on a light source from above, so we can use the primer coat to our advantage as a shadow on the tree. I mean, this tree we're going to go about two tones lighter with our browns, and then of course I'll be adding my little green effects and moss to the tree, and this one will look absolutely fantastic. You could almost imagine it in a graveyard, somewhere in a haunted house, you know. There we go. A bit more brown. Oh, this is just paint on primer, Dawn. What I've got here is I've just got Dragon Black on this one, and I actually used the wood stain brown for this one for my primer coats. I do use an airbrush when I'm doing big batches of miniatures. I will of course spray them all white or black or brown depending. If I've got a big army to do, just to save myself a bit of time. But sometimes it's just as fast to actually prime them yourself. So Michelle, have you decided which one you'd like yet? Or are you going to wait until they're finished and then decide? Now I like the dead tree effect. I like the dead tree effect because we all play Conan, and I love the movie Conan as well. So I tried to go for a more Conan vibe with the dead tree. And the key to making a good looking tree is to keep layering lighter colours over all the tree, and keeping those layers on the highest areas and keeping underneath dark, and that just works really well. It's just a form of shadow. Okay, so I'm going to carry on with the first tree now. Okay, back to the first tree. I'm actually going to change my brush because I don't want to get any dark colours onto this tree. And now we are going into the splintered bone. Again, a lighter colour. Going into our tissue, just taking off the paint. We're not taking off fully like a full dry brush. We're still leaving paint on the brush, but what happens, you'll see straight away, is it will give another lighter effect on top. And what we do is just go over, not as heavy. So what happens is you're just getting lighter and lighter with that source. And the lighter it becomes, it makes it look more like it's been in a desert and the sun has, I don't know, stained the wood, dried out the wood. Don't know what the correct name for it is. So we're just adding that little highlight. We're still not pure white. This is more cream. We've still got another layer to go with bright white for our finishing touch. But what we're doing is just lightly going over the places we went before. So what happens is you've still got that brown showing. You've still got the that desert tan showing, and then we've got the lighter version on top of that. And then all we do is the final touch is on certain areas we'll add the bright white, and that will just finish off the miniature perfectly for the bark effect. And we also don't need to add any ink washes or anything to this miniature. And it's a very fast way to paint, but it gives a beautiful effect. And like I say, we're keeping the under parts of the tree dark, and that's giving us a shadow. What I'm trying to show you today is really how to just get that bark, in the initial bark, and it just looks fantastic once it's done. It's nice and simple, but it works really well. You've got that dead tree on Lord of the Rings. Osgiliath. So you could also do the same effects for if you wanted to do a Lord of the Rings scene. I haven't seen what you've said, Bold GM. Don't worry, it's not a problem. You shouldn't have done anything wrong, not that I know of. I'm a very easy person, very easygoing. Okay, so we have got our first initial brown. We're going back to the dark tree now, and we are going for some shield brown, which is a little lighter than our last one. And it's exactly the same principle as what we've done with our first tree. We're just building up lighter colours on top of that bark. And again, just going straight into the paint there, taking a little bit off, and we're doing the same as on the last tree, and just going over the highest areas again. And this brown would just highlight the different parts of the tree. What's amazing is how different, just by using different paints, it's amazing how different you can make your miniatures look. You could have 10 of the same miniature, and you can actually make every single one look completely different just by your color scheme that you're using on those miniatures. especially if you're doing a set of trees for wood, for example. If you use different variations in the way you paint those trees, they're not going to look too samey, you know, because you can have some terrain and it all looks so similar. So by painting things in different colours, it really helps work on your tabletop. Now this brown tree here that I'm doing is going to look absolutely beautiful in anything you do, because it's more of a natural looking paint. You can use it in more scenarios. Could be used for all sorts of things. And what I'll do with this one is I'll do the base with some green and some nice greens going around, and just I'll stipple some green around the tree, and then of course I can add my grass at the bottom. And you know, I used the grass with the little leaves in. On this particular tree, the grass with the leaves will work really well, because it will look like the little leaves maybe are falling off the tree and the tree's dying, so it'll give a really nice effect to the bottom. Well, it's very simple to do, and again leaving that dark at the bottom of the branches there, so we're getting instant shadows. And as you can see, it's starting to actually, they're both looking like nice little trees now. Gorgeous. So what we're going to do now is we'll go back to the white tree and we'll add the last highlight to the white tree, and then we'll add the last highlight to the other tree. And it's a very simple process. Don't you worry about it. Don't you dare text on that road, Renegade Shank. You put that phone down, boy. Okay, last highlight for our white tree. Now what might happen now is, because we're using a very bright white, my light might reflect off it, so it might go a bit funny, so I apologise now if my light starts messing with the paint. And what we're doing is the final highlights, we're just going on to the highest areas with the brightest of the whites. Just on the tips of all the trees, just the highest areas, just across the feet of the tree maybe. And it's the lightest of dry brushes, just to highlight certain areas. And that's all we need to do. That's it. That's to me, that is nice. That's ready to add my miniatures, and I can finish off the base. But to me, that tree there is ready to go, and that's a very simple way to paint bark and make a dead looking tree. I don't know how long that took me. There we are, 24 minutes. It's not too bad. Hello, Mokai. Right, to finish off the brown tree, we just go on to our last colour. Now, for the last highlight for our brown tree, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of this brown, add it to my tissue, and I'm just going to add some of that cream and a little bit of white from the last. And this will be my last mix. And we can just add that gently to the rest of the tree. This will just pick out the highest areas. Now for this tree, what we're going to do is we're going to carry on with this tree, and we're going to start adding some nice green to the bark to make it look like it's been worn. Dawn, have I sent you one of these trees before? Have you had one of these trees from me? Alright, okay. Okay then. So Dawn hasn't had one of these trees. I bet she wants one now. Okay, so there's our wooden tree. Just by adding that extra highlight, you got a beautiful old wood effect coming from that tree. Absolutely beautiful. So the next thing we're going to do for this tree is we start adding some greens. And that really Dawn's like, I want. Put it in my display cabinet. I thought she did. Okay, let's move on to some greens. Now with the white tree, there's not much more you can do to that because it's a sun-baked tree and it's going to have all sand around it. But what we can do with the wood tree is we can really start adding some nice mold and some green, and just work our way around the tree. It just really give it a nice look and feel. So what I'm after now is my green. There we go. Excuse me. I think this is my meadow grass. Yes, I have room. Now for the grass, I am going to be using the Masterclass brush, dry brushes. And I'm going to just use this small little one here. I think I've told you all before, if you raid your girlfriend's or daughter's bedroom, they normally have these type of things that they use on their faces. I keep forgetting the names of them. They highlight their faces with these type of brushes, so you can actually get yourself a a nice little selection when they're not looking. Has Mighty Lancer Games been on tonight? I don't think they have. I'll give Mighty Lancer Games a little shout out. If you are a patron of mine, if you're a patron of mine, you get 10% off all products from Mighty Lancer Games in the UK, which is absolutely awesome. Okay, so what we've got here is we've got a beautiful looking tree so far, and what I got is that lovely green. This is like a moss green from MSP Paints, and what we're going to do, we're going to kind of stipple the paint onto the tree just by dabbing that paint on there. So we're just going around, and we're not brushing it, we're just pushing that paint on like a stippling effect, and it just gives enough green to make it look awesome going around that tree. And we'll just go up a bit higher. We've just got the mould going underneath and keeping it low at the bottom in the dark recesses, because then that green is like coming out slowly as the sun's shining down on it. But we're just adding a little bit of a variation with that green going around, and it's not too heavy, but it's just enough to give a real beautiful effect to that tree. And again, it's all I'm doing is I'm pushing the paint on like a stippling effect onto, I'm not brushing it on, just stipple, 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 stipple. I think that's the correct word, stipple, stipple. And we just go up the bark a little bit more. We're not going all over the tree. We're going to leave the tops of the tree nice and clear, so we're just keeping that green at the bottom. So it looks, almost looks like a tree you'd find on Dagobah, you know. So we're keeping it nice and dark. There we are. See, that's beautiful. See, for me, that's perfect. That tree that looks like an old tree. It's got that nice mossy effect, and it just works fantastic. And there we are. That's as simple as it gets to paint a couple of trees in 30 minutes. There's Mighty Lancer Games. Hello. I know you're busy, Mighty Lancer Games, and life is a bit busy for all of us. I can't expect everybody to turn up all the time. So there are two trees. What I'm going to do then is let's try and finish off the bases on these trees for today. Let's see what time we got. Yeah, I think we got time to get the bases finished. Get that out of the way. Let's do the sandy base first. Now there's two ways we can add sand to the base. We can either leave the base as it is, or we can add some real sand like I've got here. We've got some nice sand from the beach. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to add some PVA glue to the bottom of this one here, and we'll just dip that into the sand and we'll let that dry, and then we'll come back onto this one and we'll actually add some of that moss that I showed you and some leaves. So let's just make a start on those two quick things just to show you how simple and easy it is. I painted some animal companions today, so I've got my blister pack here. So I'm going to take my blister pack off. As you all know, I don't like wasting anything, so I'm going to use the blister pack to put my PVA glue in so we can get that base done. Now, PVA glue I use is just from the local craft store. No particular brand. One of these big bottles is about £1.99. So I don't know, was that $3.50 in the US? I don't know. And what we do is we just grab an old brush. I always use a manky old brush, and I always got manky old brushes. Here's one. And all we're going to do is we're going to get that in focus first. All I'm going to do is add my PVA glue around the bottom of this base and just push it into the bottom there. It's just a very simple way to add a sandy base. And what I will do is once that sand is dry, I shall do the same as what I do with my Star Wars Legion miniatures, and that is I shall paint over the sand with a mustard yellow, and then I'll use a light brown ink wash over that sand, just to give a nice little effect. Once that's dry, then I can either leave it as it is, or I can go back over the sand with a dry brush just to make it a little bit lighter around the top of the sand. Yeah, over here is PVA glue over here, also known as wood glue. I think it's wood glue. Is it wood glue? I think so. You'll find it in all the craft shops. I know it's the type of glue that they use for schools. I mean, if you're really desperate for glue, I remember my mum used to make glue out of flour and water, I think it was. Did anybody else do that when they were kids? They had flour and water. You made glue out of it. It was absolutely lumpy as hell. Let's show my age. Dawn, yeah. Yeah, Tal's about my age. He knows all about the flour and water. Okay, just gonna move this a little bit more so you can see what I'm doing. This is sand that I've got from the beach, that I borrowed from the beach. Now what I've done with the sand is I've kept it into a box, but what I do with my sand is I wash all the sand and then I put it on a very big board in my greenhouse, so it dries naturally, but you do need to wash. So, you know, if you go into the beach, you do need to wash all the sand, because it may look clean, but you'll have bugs in there and hairs in there and all sorts of creepy crawlies. So if you're not buying your products, from somewhere like Mighty Lancer Games, you make sure you've washed all the bits you've taken home from the beaches or the woods, because they will be full of little creepy crawlies. And nobody wants creepy crawlies in their house. So there we are. I've just added a little sand to there, and what'll happen once that's dry, I won't be able to do anything more to this one today, but once that's dry, that sand is dry, I'll paint over that with a lighter effect, and then I'll dry brush it, and that'll be just perfect. So I'm going to go and put this on the radiator now, over there, on top of my... Ooh, I got a coffee. Coffee. Cold coffee, you bastard. Excuse the language. I thought I had a hot coffee. That wasn't a hot coffee. Okay, let's move on to the last one. Now we are going to add the final touches to the base on this one. What we can do is we can just give a little dry brush around the bottom of the base, and then I'll show you my flocking that I use, which is a 50-50. I know, cold coffee, right guys? Got me right off that has. Now let me quickly show you the flocking that I use. Lots of people have said to me, "Oh, what do you flocking you use?" Now the flocking is from Army Painter. Again, you can get this from Mighty Lancer Games. But what I do is I buy mixtures of flocking, and what I do is I like to go for the autumn flocking. Now that is a darker grass. What you got there is you've got two different types of grass. You've got like a summer meadow, and then you've got like an autumn grass, and that's the autumn grass has browns in it and greens, and it's absolutely beautiful. What I find is with the summer grasses, they can look a little bit too bright. So when you've got them on the base, they can actually kind of, sometimes it can ruin the miniature because the grass is too bright. So what I prefer is this one here, and this one is autumn grass. So write that down and you'll know to get autumn, and that is the darker grass. Now what else I use are little leaves. And of course I can't find my grass, I can't find my cutter at the minute, but this is an example. This is from Green Stuff World, and what it does, it lets you cut little leaves to size. Now again, I've got these from Mighty Lancer Games. This one is for a fern, which is great for your dinosaurs and all sorts of things. But what they've got are little leaf cutters, and these are the little leaves. And what you do, you just grab your leaves from outside, let them dry, and you can cut hundreds of little leaves using these cutters, and they're absolutely fantastic. You can use it with printer paper. What you can do is you can use ink on printer paper, very thin sheets of printer paper, and if you use a green ink on that printer paper, it soaks all the way through the paper, and then you can use these cutters, and it makes an absolutely fantastic leaf for your miniatures. But yeah, totally recommended. And what I do then is, as you can see, I've mixed in all those beautiful leaves with this, and it gives a really nice foliage, a nice ground foliage to your trees and your bases. It's a real looking base. It's a real nice. If you saw some of the earth elementals, I posted on Twitter a couple of days ago, this is the mix that I used on the top of those earth elementals, and everybody was saying how nice they looked. So this is what you want to do. You just mix in autumn with some nice leaves, and it just works really well. Hello, Geek Curio. Okay, so let's finish off the base on this one. So what I'm going to do actually is we shall just add a little bit lighter colour to the bottom, and then we'll just add that lovely foliage. I think I'm saying the word right. Is it foliage? Having some foliage. I haven't got a clue what I'm talking about. Okay, what we need to do is brush again. We just need to do a little bit of that green again around the bottom. So look, that's not that one. Here we are. Won't be 5 seconds. Foliage. Foliage! Thank you, Tal. Even my paint doesn't want to come out of the bottle now. It's saying, you can't say foliage. You can't say foliage. I'm not going to come out the bottle. If you can't say the right words, I'm not going to come out. There you go. Oh, honestly, Carlos, you all know what I'm like. I might be able to paint a miniature, but goodness me, I don't know English very well. All we're doing for the base is we're just adding some green. This is just a rough green going around the base, because what we're going to do is add that lovely foliage. Yeah, that's what we're going to do. That's what we're going to do. There we are. What we're trying to do is just give the base a little bit of colour. And that's all we need to do. Simple as that. Thank you for subscribing, Geek Curio. Oh, Mokai gifted. Thank you, Mokai, so much. Thank you, Mokai, so much. Very kind of you. And once again, we're going back into our PVA glue. I'll get rid of this here. I'll just find the brush I was using before. And what we're going to do is just add that glue to the bottom of this base, and just big clumps of glue on this one. And the reason why I want it all clumpy is because I want to have clumps of that grass going around, just like going over some of the tree roots. So just by adding a nice big clump of this grass, glue for the grass, it works really well. We don't have to do it in all the places, but in certain parts. PVA glue, absolutely fantastic stuff, cheap. I forgot to mention as well, if you're using PVA glue, Don't be scared when you're using this PVA glue if you're new to painting. It looks white now, but it dries crystal clear. As long as you don't put it on too thickly, of course. If you put it on really, really thick, it'll still have a white hue. But just like I'm doing now, once that's dried fully, that white will dissipate and disappear and become clear. But it is off-putting. It's a bit like gloss varnish. When you're using your gloss varnish for your miniatures, when you first put on the gloss varnish, it's white, and you could have spent hours. You could have spent hours doing your miniature, and then you've added that gloss varnish, and it's gone white. You're like, no! But you give it a bit of time, and it it dries clear, so you don't have to worry. Okay then, let's go and add our little bits here. Right, there we are. Just need a little bit of paper. What I do is, when I'm adding my grass, I'll put a plain piece of paper underneath my model, like so. And what happens then is I can just sprinkle on the grass all around the model, and of course I'll be able to pick up all the bits afterwards. So all we're doing is going around the base of the model, just heavily adding all these lovely leaves. And what you do is you don't take off the leaves instantly. A lot of people make the mistake of adding leaves and grass to their models and then instantly tapping off the actual grass. So what you do is you just leave the flocking and the leaves. Just leave it there a little bit longer. Don't take it off instantly. Leave it for about a minute, because what happens in that glue will soak in to the grass and it'll suck more and stick more to your miniature. If I tap this off now, it will look like half of it's bald, because parts will fall off. So we're just giving it a little bit more time, and that'll help stick more of the flocking to your miniatures. Let me show you these little minis again that come with it. Now, with these trees of despair, you got a choice. You got a choice of two beautiful. Oh, that's two women. You got the guy. I don't know if you can see them. Okay. You got the Conan, and you got the Lady Conan, as they call it. And of course, you get a little pack of buzzards. So you can actually paint all these buzzards and have them stuck around. Now, I have done another painting tutorial on the first tree of despair. That's on my YouTube channel, and you'll see that I've painted these little pieces as well. So feel free to follow the YouTube channel, and I have got it there. It's about 2 years old now, I think. Okay, that should do us. What it is, it's just leaving it on the tree a little bit longer, and that helps more of that. It helps more of the flocking stick to the tree, and it will give you a nice thicker foliage. Right, let's get this back. I'll just take off the excess around the rim of the base with our thumb. And because we have put it all onto this paper, it's very simple to just open your little tub, get your little bit of paper in a nice little U shape, and it goes all back in the tub. Whee! Just like so. And that's your grass all done. Oops. So there we are. This is the tree so far. We've got the foliage on the bottom. We've got the nice green going into the tree. And what a difference we have from the first tree. I mean, we've got 2 trees painted in the stream today, and yet they look completely different for any of your games. You can use the one tree for woods, the other tree for your desert effects. 2 very, very simple ways to get some fantastic, great looking effects for your trees. Yes, I did say that earlier, Carlos, right? So there we are, absolutely superb. That is all I am going to be doing for tonight. I don't know what time it is now. It must be time for coffees. That's about all I can show you for today. If Michelle decides which one she would like posted to her, then she can let me know. Thank you, every single one of you, for popping on. There's been quite a few of you tonight, which is absolutely fantastic. It's always a pleasure to have anybody new follow the channel or join the channel or watch the channel. I try my best to make it an interesting hour. And as you know, I don't want to do more than an hour. I think an hour is more than enough for my little brain cells. So there we are. Love to every single one of you. I shall say good night to you all. I'll see you in Discord. My next stream will be on... What day are we on? My next stream will be on Tuesday. And next Tuesday will either be Star Wars Legion, Mantic Games, or it will be WizKids Games. So, good night to all, and you take care out there.